Sub-Legends, going to be going through the trades for the week. There's going to be 3 made across the 3 teams, and we're starting off with 1 with the People Squad, and there's a few options that were thrown out there. There was to not trade at all, which was definitely a decent chance there. There was to make 1 trade, which would have been Brown to Talakai. There would have been another 1 trade, which is the one we've done, and that is going to be Mr. Walters down to Talatau Gula as well. So 241k, we leave us with 249 in the bank, 24 trades remaining for the next few weeks on. There's no really else to potentially trade out at this point, so I suppose guys like Lockie Ilias could be an option over the next few weeks as a trade out. And then, depending on how things go with Jones, Tuolangi, what happens with Brown longer term, and then a few of the other guys, the Panthers guys, Randall, these types of players. So definitely some options going forward. Randall could potentially be a trade out, but wasn't spoken about. The second option was to make 2 trades, and that would be Walters down and also Brown out for Talakai, which would have left us with a lot of money in the bank. So the people have decided just to go the 1 trade to Kula there, and sets us up with a pretty solid base there. We have the slight worries of Jones, Tuolangi, also Aiken. Aiken potentially out this week with that calf strain. So as to what we do with those guys, we have a little bit of cover on the bench, obviously with Kula down there in the center position. So if Aiken's out, we can straight swap, for Kula there. We got Taylor May, who could, we can move up into that position as well if we need to, and we can move, Tango up into the edge position. So we have a few guys to potentially use. What do you guys think with Lockie Ilias being our number 4 over Taff or Kula? Let me know what you guys think on that one. Maxi King flying the flag as the vice captain, as always. Cleary as captain. Team's looking good, obviously, ranked nicely, and we're gonna push really strong towards round 13, and we've got a bunch of guys that we could potentially pick next week, and the Jacksons, the Taumalolos, these types of guys. So definitely plenty going on for the People Squad this week. All right, the head-to-head squad has actually decided to hold trades this week. If you look at the squad, there's potentially the odd guy that you could move on. But I suppose the real question is here, what guns could you bring in if you were to trade out of Randall, if you were to trade out Hetherington, for example? I've already got Kula, and I don't really trust any of the other cash cows at the moment. So those guys are probably the only trade outs. Burton potentially as well. But how do you play this one? Do you downgrade Burton to someone like, I suppose, Jackson Hastings is someone at 500k that I've mentioned, but do you want to trade Burton to Hastings? I don't know, it feels a little bit sideways, even though Burton hasn't scored amazingly. They're both average pretty similar, even with Hastings playing well the last few weeks. Burton could come out and do the same, and he's going to be playing 13. So I think for the head-to-head squad, it probably really doesn't matter, obviously, about round 13, but Burton could be someone that turns into a strong keeper, and trading him out at this point when I'm winning majority of my head-to-head games seems a little bit silly at this point. So that's where we're at the moment in terms of playing 4. We've got a nice interchange 4 there. We've got Hetherington to cover if need be. We're hoping for Cotter to come back with a good game. We've got Cook, Papali'i, Hunt. Hopefully can have a decent game as well. So the squad's looking nice without Cleary, obviously, and that's kind of the worry at the moment. We have 27k. Do we push to get him in? I think over the next bunch of weeks we can. There's a few guns in here that we'd look to strike on, and obviously Cleary being one, with us not being worried about the buy rounds. Cleary, the Murrays, these types of players are guys we're looking to work up to. So Cotter, we're looking to make a little bit more cash. If he can average that 50, he's got about an 80 or 90 to go. Could be a fringe 17, 18 kind of guy. Hoping to make some money out of Tuolangi, a little bit more out of King, for example. He could be potentially a trade out over the next few weeks, considering we don't need him for 13. Just remember, guys, this is the head-to-head team, so I'm talking a little bit differently to what it's like with the People Squad or my team. Burton, as I said, I think he could potentially be a keeper by the end of the season, so it's like, well, do you just leave him now and not use those trades? The only one that's not making us money right now is Walters, so unless we get a good cash cow option, I think we just leave Walters, cop the little loss that he's going to have, and deal with it from there. In terms of the other guys, Aiken's a keeper in the centers as well, and the rest of the guys are making money. Hetherington, Randall, Maxi King are the 3 that we should be looking to move on. Ilias still has a chance to make a little bit of cash as well. So they're the 3, and when good options come up, we'll make those trades and keep building towards that gun 17 or 18. So that's that with the head-to-head squad. My team, I've decided to make 2 trades this week. I'm not completely sold on it, but at this point, 2 options. It's make the trades of Hetherington and Lanai to Talakai and Kula. That's one option. I can obviously bring Talakai in. He has a really nice 4-game stretch where he could make a lot of cash. obviously get into about that, close to that 800k mark if he averages 50 over the next bunch of weeks, and then we could potentially move him on if we want to. He could become a keeper in that in that center and the edge as well if he continues doing what he's doing. The other option there was to bring in Papali'i, and that would be trading out Kurt Mann and Nanai, or Kurt and Randall, for example, just to get enough money to get to Papali'i. And I feel like Kurt and Randall could potentially be holds in this week, obviously against the Storm. You just hope that they can hold their own and they can get a lot of tackles. Randall and Mann there. And not sure who's going to get the less minutes, but I think that was the idea this week. It was to hold both those guys and see what happens. I suppose the other option is holding on to Nanai being 100k cheaper, and has that potential to hold him all the way through to round 13. So that's just my current thoughts. I'm going to make that decision in the next couple of hours as to what we do there, because if I trade out Mann or Randall, it leaves me with that extra 100k, which I could do something with next week to bring in Papali'i. So or I just have the potential to trade Mann and Randall coming into next week. So that's the theory there. We got Penasini making cash. Jones there. Obviously Tuolangi plays. Hopefully he plays this week. Brown's the big worry in the centers. So that were the options this week as to what I do. Let me know what you think. If I should bring in Talakai this week and trade out Nanai and Hetherington, or hold Hetherington and Nanai and get rid of Randall and Mann. Let me know your thoughts as to what I should do. But my squad here, the theory here, I'm ranked 2,000, so I'd like to push into the 1,500, 1,000 mark by the time we get to Origin period. But having a few less trades, obviously in the bank, is going to be hurtful. But if I want to make waves and get into that top 500 or 1,000, then I think now is the time to really push and take a little bit of a risk. So Talakai is the risk, obviously, considering he plays center, and Papali'i is the safe one. Perhaps it's probably going to make a little bit more cash. He can get closer to 900k over the next few weeks, where Talakai has an opportunity over the next 2 to 4 weeks to get over 800k. And if he scores really well and averages about 55 to 60 over those 4 easier games, then he can average similar to Papali'i for a 200k cheaper price and make me a bit of cash and catch me up to a lot of those guys in that top 1,500 to 1,000. So that's the theory with that. Let me know your thoughts. There's obviously a bit of a risk, which is not something I'm used to taking, but I think it's something that I need to do, even though he's just now that I've traded him in, he's probably going to go poorly. But again, a risk I'm going to decide to take, and majority of my guys are making money outside of that. We only got Walters that's going to lose a little bit. Everyone else has that opportunity to make some cash now. I'm not sitting with too many real cheap guys on the bench, so I'm happy with that. If they can continue to go up a little bit, then I can downgrade them to cash cows when they pop up as well. So that's the video for the trades, guys. I hope you took a little bit out of that, a little bit out of strategy in the head-to-head as well, and what I'm looking to do heading towards the Origin buy schedule for the overall teams. If you are new here, please subscribe, like this video, send it to your mates. I really appreciate everyone being involved in this community. Thank you all so much, and we'll catch you in the next video. See you later.